Hello friends, I just thought I'd do a little video. Oops, hang on, I'm just destroying the place. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for all my birthday greetings. Yes, there's a lot of them on there, that's brilliant. Thank you, that's really perked me up because I'm still suffering jet lag from this holiday we had in Sri Lanka. I mean, I went to bed at 6:30, well, somewhere around about that time last night. I've been working in the day, but yes, just knackered, and I feel a bit knackered now. But we're going out to the Spyglass tonight. Sue and I, we're going for a meal in Shanklin, and then we're heading for the Spyglass. If anybody would like to come down, I'm sure we can have a drink if you want to celebrate with us. Yes, so that's the birthday treat tonight. Then JC and Angelina are playing there, like they do most Thursdays. But anyway, I just thought I'd have a word about this, because I don't know if anybody got the county press last week, but I didn't realise till Monday when I was told by a heart surgeon in Cowes, who I've been doing some work for, it's an ongoing job, a big job I'm doing for them over there, about this, which is, I don't know if you can see that, how close I have to get, but it's basically me, Nancy and John Bentley outside of Barclays Bank in Wight. Now this was on the 2nd of December, so they've took a while to actually post it, but I guess they get busy with things. And anyway, thanks to the county press for putting this in, because yeah, it's a good thing that it's I guess quite a lot of people must have seen it. Basically, I'll read you what the author has written here. Songs of protest outside Barclays Bank. Anti-fracking protesters sang outside Barclays Bank ride to object to the bank's funding of Third Energy, a fracking company in which they have a 97% stake. Derek Farrell, 64, of Albert Road, Sandown, was joined by his daughter Nancy Farrell, a Green Town Councillor for Ryde North East, and Shanklin folk singer John Bentley. Thank you to John, he brought his mobile PA along as well, so we could really blast it out. Well, I was anyway. The trio sang a selection of songs to raise awareness about fracking. Derek joined the anti-fracking movement. That's Frack for the Isle of Wight, by the way. After visiting his hometown, they got a few things wrong, but it doesn't matter. That's what I wanted to elaborate on. North Yorkshire. He realised the imminence of fracking in Kirby Misperton and wanted to make people on the Isle of Wight aware of the issue. He said, although fracking isn't imminent on the island, we want more people to be aware and support us. They need to be aware we have a choice and join with protests to prevent it happening on the Isle of Wight. Yeah, that's basically what we want to do. But first of all, I'll talk about the Barclays Bank, who are funding Third Energy up in Kirby Misperton in North Yorkshire. I went up there. I'm sure a lot of people saw the vids I put up about their the fracking well in Kirby Misperton. I went up there to give them some support last October, and yes, Barclays Bank are actually funding Third Energy. They own Third Energy basically. It's their bag because it's 97%, you know, and they shouldn't be funding this dirty industry, you know. It's imminent now. They're very imminent because the planning permission was handed to Greg Clark, the Minister for Industry, Energy and business and wherever it is. There's three things there, quite long barrel thing, but he's a Minister of State for that, and he's got the planning. He's had the planning permission on his desk now since before Christmas for about 9 or 10 weeks, and Theresa May had a reshuffle, didn't she, which wasn't a shuffle actually. He's still there. I'm sure he wanted to go because he's been holding back on signing this off, but it could happen any day. They're ready to frack, the well's drilled, it's ready to go, and they're ready to frack any time as soon as he signs that off. We're hoping he doesn't sign it off because he'd be committing a sin if he did, and I'm sure it won't be doing his political career any good either. And he should do the right thing and not sign it off, and which will set a precedence for fracking to stop in this country. Because you know fracking, I won't go into the details of fracking. I'm with Frack for the Isle of Wight, by the way. This is Frack for the Isle of Wight. We were displaying these when we did the protest singing and stuff. I'm going to put this video at the top of the playlist I put on YouTube of me and John singing there. You know, Nancy helped with the you know, the collections and having leaflets out, etc. But frackfreeisleofwight.org. That's frackfreeisleofwight.org if you want more information on what's happening on this island. Because although it's not imminent, UCOG have got a licence to frack at Perroton Farm in Arroton, and there's also, I don't know if it's UCOG, there's another company though, got a licence to go down at Compton Beach and go under the sea and do fracking there, you know, which this island wouldn't stand it, wouldn't withstand fracking, same as any environment wouldn't. We know that every well leaks, and you look at Queensland in Australia. There's 20,000 wells there. You need a lot of wells to do fracking shale, and it started with one well, and our one well is up in Kirby Misperton. Ineos, which is owned by Jim Ratcliffe, a multi-billionaire. He's got a big oil refinery up in Grangemouth, up in Scotland. He is now trying to sue the Scottish government for putting a moratorium on it, because he's got a lot of licences right across the central belt of Scotland, which would be devastating. There's mines there, they don't even know where they are. And to frack anywhere is devastating. The oil leak, it gets into the water aquifers, it poisons everything. I'm going on now, aren't I? I'm sure a lot of people know what it does. But if you want more information about it and on the island here, go to frackfreeisleofwight.org. It's a serious shit, baby, I tell you. And simple as that. The flare-offs, methane flare-offs, cancers, stillbirths, you name it, it causes it. And it's a serious agricultural farmland destroyed, water aquifers polluted. You know, the aquifer up in Kirby Misperton. Now the people in that village, I went up there. It's a lovely little peaceful, was a peaceful village, on just below Pickering, in North Yorkshire, about 3 miles south of Pickering, in the Vale of Pickering. Their aquifer supplies water to right across there to Scarborough, right on the coast. I don't know, 20,000 people dependent on their aquifer, you know, and they're going to pollute it if they start fracking. They've got the lifted the moratorium. I've just noticed in West Sussex, Balcombe. They've lifted their moratorium and they're going to do test flows now, so it's imminent there. And Ineos again, he wants this, what we call him, Jim Ratcliffe. He wants to frack right across the southern Weald, you know, which is ridiculous. And he also wants to frack under the North Yorkshire moors. And he'll buy out anybody like Third Energy if they get successful fracking things, because there's also the plans for dumping nuclear waste down these wells. I've seen the designs for the capsules that fit into these deep boreholes for dumping nuclear waste, because this country, we've got a lot of nuclear waste. There's white paper about it, and they don't know what to do with it. They were dumping it in the Irish Sea and in the English Channel, round off Alderney there somewhere, in the English Channel. There's clusters of cancer in Alderney and round the Irish Sea, all round Sellafield. All these places, it's a serious situation. This government are the only government, the Conservatives are the only people who support fracking. They ought to be gotten rid of, because they're basically a bunch of sociopaths. Simple as that. They're in the pockets of the companies. It's basically a corporatocracy, corporatism. You're looking at 1984 unfolding here, corporate police state. It's happening now. They've got, you see armed police now in places like Devon. They're getting people used to seeing armed police on the streets. And I tell you, it's looking serious. Look at what's happening in the health service. I'm going off course a bit here, but there's so much going on, and this government are to blame. We've got to get rid of this government, otherwise this country, you talk about save the children, it's going to be saving the population next. But the next generation, the children are going to get it. They're going to be up to the necks in it because they're going to be enslaved in debt. Houses are not going to be worth anything wherever there's a gas field. The prices up there now are plummeting. They can't even rent their houses out. Some people want to move out and rent a house and live somewhere else, just don't want to be there. But even the rentals are down. The house prices are down. Anywhere, the rentals are going to be down. But anyway, that's the case there, and that's what this protest we did at the beginning of December, the 2nd of December, was about. I'm not sure who else is funding, but Jim Ratcliffe, who's a multi-billionaire, he's got that refinery up in Scotland. He's also, he's got factories elsewhere around the world, petrochemical factories. He's making plastics, would you believe, stuff like that. He's saying that the gas they're going to get will go into our grid and all this bollocks. Basically, he wants the gas for his own industry. Simple as that. He's importing shale gas from America by tanker. He's been doing it for over a year now. He's bringing it into Scotland. There's a big hoo-ha about that last year. You know, he's got the government by the short and curlies. Just, was it last year or the year before, he was blackmailing them about something to do with his oil refinery or something, shutting it down or whatever. I can't remember what it was. But he got something like 130 million out of this government. What did he do with that? He bought himself a yacht. Now these people are controlling this government, and we've got to do something about it. I'm not going to go on too much, because anybody who knows me or seen any, I know what I'm like. But the thing is, I want to make more people aware. We've got to have an awareness, and that's what Frack for Isle of Wight. We're getting back onto fracking now. Frack for Isle of Wight are non-political, by the way, you know, and all they are into is making more. The campaign with Frack for Isle of Wight this year is to make more people aware of what fracking's all about, and that's what we need to do. You're getting on for, I don't know, must be getting on for 1,000 frack-free communities all over this country now, and that's getting people from all walks of life together, and I mean all walks of life, and they're talking about more than just fracking as well. And it's getting out that this government are a bunch of liars. They're under a veil of secrecy, basically, but we're breaking through that veil of secrecy now. Not secrecy, deceit, you know, and we're breaking through that, and a lot more people are becoming aware that they're taking the piss, basically. I mean, Pickering up there, that's a Conservative held area. I was up there, I was interviewing people, I've got videos on YouTube. I interviewed a bishop, I was interviewing a local GP who live up there, and I'm sure whether they voted for Conservative, I'm sure they probably did, because there's a Conservative stronghold, but I think they must be trying to realise now that the Conservative government ain't worried about them, you know. All they're worried about is lining their own pockets, simple as that. And you know, I'm starting to get a bit of head fog now because I've got jet lag, and I tend to get head fog anyway because lots of things start feeding in when I go on about these things. But anyway, Frack for Isle of Wight, we want more support. We want to make sure, because even though we haven't got it imminently, I say that there's licences out. Perrington Farm in Arroton, is it? Yeah, I think that's what they call it. That's up for fracking, and Colwell Bay. Now they haven't got planning permission yet, but UCOB could apply for planning permission at any time, and we want to tell this Isle of Wight Council that we're not giving them planning permission. They've got no social licence. I mean, there's something like 90% of people in this country who've been polled, etc., are saying no to fracking, you know. And anybody with half a brain who does the research and looks into it will say no, because it's absolutely ridiculous. We've got to make sure the landowners don't get pulled into it. And I tell you, you look, Ian R. Crane, he's been labelled as a conspiracy theorist and stuff. And but he put a film out called Voices from the Gas Fields. This is not the American thing. This is Voices from the Gas Fields. Which was he went over to Queensland in Australia and filmed it there, and there's a lot of information there about fracking, interviewing the landowners there who were duped. A couple of them got up and spoke, A lot of them haven't, because they've been paid money in gagging clauses and all this, so they don't speak. And that's what will be happening in this country if we're not careful. We've got to get it stopped. They haven't done a frack yet, but it's imminent in Kirby Misperton in North Yorkshire, which is where I went. I don't come from there actually. Like it says, I come from Stockton-on-Tees, which is about 60 odd mile north, above the Yorkshire Moors. Kirby Misperton is just below the Yorkshire Moors. But I'm very concerned because it is my neck of the woods. I used to go camping on North Yorkshire Moors. It's a beautiful place, the North Yorkshire Moors. One of the most beautiful places in this country. And for them to ruin it, Ineos, getting under there where they're fracking, it's going to be total disaster. It's got to be stopped before it starts, this. Otherwise, you know, they're using Kirby Misperton as, that's what's known as a sacrifice zone. And the people in Kirby Misperton are on tenterhooks at the moment. And God bless them, I was up there, I've met them all. They've just opened another protest camp, the third one actually, down in another place. It's towards South Yorkshire, where there's more fracking wells going in. They're actually putting the pads in now. I tell you, we need thousands of these pads to make fracking pay. So it'll be all over this country before we know it. Obviously not around London, but that round, it can be on the island, right across the southern Weald, in Sussex and Surrey and all around there. And all across North England, either side of the Pennines. There's another site which is getting close in Preston New Road, where there's a moratorium put on 6 or 7 years ago when they did actually do a frack, 2 fracks I think it was, and it caused subsidence, it caused earthquakes. Gears a Frackman is a man who's fighting up there, and he's been on the case now for 6 years. He's been to this island a couple of times. I've met him, and I've spoke to him on the phone several times. He's up at Preston New Road. He needs support. He's getting it, but he has done a lot off his own bat through fundraising himself. He's actually got a judicial review. It's gone to appeal now. He's against Savage Javid, who lifted the moratorium on Lancashire, which is where Preston New Road is, just near Blackpool. They're trying to frack there. That's which company's that? That one is Quadrilla, and they've had problems because they're trying to drill on a water meadow. They've had subsidence. They've had to pull everything out and start again. But Gazer and the people who are with him, and there's not that many of them, are up there, and they've got a thing opposite that well site, and they're watching there night and day, and what they're doing, how many pipes they're putting down, what they're pulling back out. They've had a lot of problems up there, and they need more support. He is there, them people are up there on these cold nights all night watching the place. They need more support, and so do Kirby Misperton. All these places need a lot of support. We should be up there. I went up to Kirby Misperton. I was going to go across to Lancashire, but I didn't have time. It cost me a lot of money when I went up there. My car broke down and I was out of pocket because of it. But money to me means nothing when it comes down to human rights and people's health, and especially the next generation. And if it takes me telling people that their houses are going to lose value, that's great. Yeah, and if it makes them aware and makes them start stepping up to the mark. But it's a shame, isn't it, really, that it takes something like that to make people step up to the mark, because the apathy in this country is ridiculous. But anyway, I've said enough on that now. I just wanted to show, and I'm so glad that we've got some support with the Isle of Wight County Press. Hopefully they'll give us some more support, because maybe they won't have to heard me rabbiting on, because I know, I believe the editor of the County Press is a Conservative, so whether he gives this a go ahead, I guess he must have done. Thank you, sir. I'm glad you've done that, because I know the head of the council is also a Conservative. I know your friends. But, you know, I'm sure, I know Bob Seeley, who's stepping down from the council, isn't he, because he's our MP. He said he's against fracking on the island. But all I'd like to say to people like that is, if you're against fracking on the island, why aren't you against fracking right through the rest of the country? Because it seems a bit hypocritical, doesn't it, really? But there you go, you know, oh my, I'm not going to shout too much about that, but it's all a bit dodgy to me. We've got to stop fracking anywhere in this country. It's banned in Scotland, it's banned in Ireland, it's banned in Wales, it should be banned here.